Hello and welcome. Namaskar from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to address the nation tonight at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time and 2:30 p.m. GMT. Indian Armed Forces top brass reveal how India crippled Pakistan's defences in the aftermath of Operation Sindoor, hitting key air bases, radars and communications, with viral video clips to boot. Air Vice Marshal Bharati credits India's layered integrated air defence system for protecting military and civilian infrastructure. The role of India's indigenous surface-to-air missile Akash highlighted. And debunking Pakistan's lies about striking India's key military assets, the armed forces representatives also declare that the nation's military bases are fully functional and remain ready to undertake any future missions if required. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be addressing the nation at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time today. Earlier in the day, the PM chaired a high-level meeting at his residence in the national capital, Delhi. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan and chiefs of 3 services were present for this meeting. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri also attended the meeting. And the Director Generals of Military Operations of all 3 services, that's the Indian Army, Navy and Air Force, briefed the nation on Operation Sindoor. Air Marshal A.K. Bharti reiterated that India fights against terrorism and terrorists. Accordingly, on the 7th of May, India targeted only terrorist sites. But he said it was Pakistani military which chose to support the terrorists and turned it into a personal conflict.
We also iterated that our fight was with terrorists and their support infrastructure and not with Pakistan military. However, it is a pity that the Pakistan military chose to intervene and bat for the terrorists, which compelled us to respond in kind.
The DG AO said India's robust air defence system effectively thwarted Pakistani attempts to target Indian installations.
This robust AD system comprises of a large variety of multi-layered AD sensors and weapon systems, from point defense weapons like the low-level air defense guns, shoulder-fired manpads, and short-range surface-to-air missiles or SAMs, to area defense weapons like the air defense fighters and longer-range surface-to-air missiles within our inventory. Additionally, the numerous waves of drones and unmanned combat aerial vehicles employed by Pakistan were also thwarted by the indigenously developed soft and hard kill counter-US systems and the well-trained Indian air defense personnel. All this was brought together as an efficient and effective AD environment by the Integrated Air Command and Control System, or the ISCCS of the Indian Air Force.
Further, he said that another highlight was the stellar performance of indigenous air defence systems like the Akash.
Another highlight has been the stellar performance of the indigenous air defense weapon system like the Akash system. I would like to mention that putting together and operationalization of this potent AD environment has been possible over the last decade due to unwavering budgetary and policy support provided by the Government of India in acquiring state-of-the-art equipment and weapon systems.
Air Marshal Bharati also said that the military bases and systems continue to remain fully operational and ready to undertake any mission if the need arises, completely discrediting Pakistan's claims of having struck India's vital facilities.
All our military bases, all our systems continue to remain fully operational and ready to undertake any future missions should the need so arise.
And the Air Marshal also presented the composite picture of targets engaged by the Indian Air Force during Operation Sindoor with specific hits. For instance, Noor Khan Air Base, where video evidence was shown, and also Rahim Yar Khan Air Base, where a crater was created on the runway. And Director General of Military Operations as DGMO Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai on Monday also addressed the media along with the Air Marshal there on Operation Sindoor. In his address, the General said in the last few years the character of terrorist activities has changed. Innocent civilians have been attacked.
मैंने आपको कल बताया था कि पिछले कुछ सालों में आतंक की गतिविधियों का कैरेक्टर जो है उसमें कुछ बदलाव आ रहा था। अब हमारी मिलिट्री के साथ साथ मासूम सिविलियंस जो कि अपना बचाव करने में विफल थे उन पर भी हमले हो रहे थे। 2024 में जम्मू सेक्टर में शिवखोरी मंदिर को जाते हुए यात्री और इस साल अप्रैल में पहलगाम में मासूम पर्यटक इस खतरनाक ट्रेंड के विशेष उदाहरण हैं। पहलगाम तक पाप का ये घड़ा भर चुका था।
Further, the Lieutenant General conveyed his deep appreciation to the nation's citizens for their invaluable contribution to the success of Operation Sindoor. He highlighted the mission's accomplishments through seamless coordination, fueled by the steadfast support of 1.4 billion nationals.
In every single domain that Operation Sindoor has been prosecuted, there has been absolute synergy between the three services. Not only have we, in this endeavor, been fully supported by our government, departments and agencies, I cannot here not mention our 140 crore countrymen that have stood behind us with their prayers and goodwill, urging and inspiring us to achieve our mission and objectives. For that, we salute you. You are indeed the best. Jai Hind.
While briefing the media, DG NO, that's of the Navy, Vice Admiral A.N. Pramod also said that India's powerful carrier battle group with formidable offensive capabilities was able to operate with impunity and maintained an uncontested presence in the area of operation.
In the current standoff, the presence of our aircraft carrier with large number of MiG-29K fighters and airborne early warning helicopters prevented any suspicious or hostile aircraft to close the carrier battle group within several hundred kilometers. Immediately after the cowardly incident by Pakistani-sponsored terrorist attack at Pahalgam, we had validated our anti-missile and anti-aircraft defense capability in a complex threat environment using cross-platform cooperative mechanism.
Let me now bring in my colleague, our Akshay Dongre, DD India's Akshay Dongre, who is present at this briefing. Akshay, we've already put out in terms of the sound bites and the lead-ins for what we thought were the main highlights of this particular briefing, which clearly show that Pakistan was just left with nothing really. It was completely exposed in the aftermath of Operation Sindoor in terms of how the Indian armed forces responded with precision without causing any collateral damage, and yet hurting Pakistan to such an extent that it was left virtually defenseless. Have we missed anything?
Well, we haven't missed anything. If it makes any sense, we have hit more than we expected, it seems, as far as Pakistan is concerned.
I was asking, have we in the bulletin missed anything, before coming to you?
No, that is about it, Gautam. As far as the meeting is concerned of the DGMO, as well as the presser that has taken place today by the DG level officers of the three forces, we have once again gotten proof that how everything has executed by the armed forces, and especially when it comes to the offensive capabilities and the defensive capabilities. They talked about both, that how we hit these targets and how we defended against the Pakistani waves of drones that they had sent. And very interesting things that these were some of the more popular drones, especially from Turkey, that Turkey has been trying to export to other countries as well, especially in Africa and low income countries, because they are cheap. However, one thing that has been exposed by Pakistan usage is that that drone has failed, and it seems that it is also losing buyers now, because the kind of air defense system that were put by the Indian armed forces, they just couldn't enter beyond a few kilometers inside the territory. The defensive capabilities have been explained, and it has been explained as a deterrence to Pakistan, that see, we have these many air defense systems, both long range and short range, and we also have shoulder carried MPADs that can also down these drones. So we have a layer that you cannot, probably anybody in the world at this point in time doesn't have any kind of weaponry when it comes to drones and missiles that can actually hit any cities and cause any significant damage. A couple of drones that have in fact landed in a certain places, they were also they also failed to hit their targets, and everything has been in detail been explained that how it happened. So it's a messaging to Pakistan's propaganda that the way they are showcasing that they have won this conflict, or that so many bases in India have been hit. It is to decimate that as well in front of the world, and that is why perhaps very senior ranking officers are now conducting press briefing in clarification to everything that has happened.
And actually, what about the so-called modern armaments that Pakistan has begged and borrowed from its friends, be it friends to the west in the form of Turkey, or friends further east and north, also India's neighbor China?
Well, Pakistan is a tier 2 country if it comes to power and any kind of power, be it hard power or soft power or economic power. Because what we have seen is that Pakistan is nowhere when it comes to major world economies or major world powers. It's just a country that is known for terrorism. So as far as their high-tech weapons
but
are
it thought
concerned,
that
they
it
are
had the
also
most modern weapons that it had got from countries like Turkey and China. What was their fate?
Well, perhaps, when it comes to these weaponry, it seems that, and there are sources telling us that there is a lot of pressure also on Pakistan, that the way they have Pakistani armed forces, the way they have used the kind of drones that it actually borrowed or bought, that too on loans from these countries, have failed so miserably that these countries are losing buyers, foreign buyers who were going to buy these drones because of their ineffectiveness. So Pakistan is under pressure because they have used it against a power such as India that has integrated all of its air defense systems into one and is working with a very precision based synchrony, as well as the theaterization is absolutely complete as far as the forces are concerned. So why did Pakistan use the Turkish drones or the Chinese weaponry against India? So they are also under a lot of pressure because it has sent out a very wrong signal to the world that these weapons are useless. So that is one thing. But when it comes to J-10s or JF-17 or the kind of JQ-9 air defense system that they have been boasting, one has been neutralized in Lahore. There are reports that aircraft have also been downed off the Pakistan Air Force, and it's up to them actually to count bodies now after the action has been done, because the fight has never been against the Pakistani army. It has always been against terrorism, and that is the focus of the entire action that has been taken by the government of India, and it will take it once again if there are any attempts to either cross-border infiltrate its terrorists or even funds or trains terrorists on its own ground. So if there is intel that there is any kind of threat to India, India will act.
Yes, certainly that has been made amply clear, because India, all its key assets are secure and safe and fully functional, also the personnel who man them, and if India is provoked again, well, Pakistan should really watch out. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment, Akshay Dongre. Now, normalcy has returned to the border areas of India following the second day of peace along India's western frontiers. The overnight period in Jammu and Kashmir and other international border regions reported 0 incidents. Markets have reopened as usual and border area residents are returning to their homes. Now, this marks the first calm night in the recent period. However, the security establishment remains on high alert. Well, several border districts of Rajasthan on Monday saw people engaging in their routine activities, returning to them, reflecting a sense of normalcy. As a precautionary measure, schools, colleges and coaching institutions remained closed on Monday in several border districts, while blackout in Jaisalmer continued overnight along with Bikaner, Sri Ganganagar and Barmer districts. The administration has appealed to residents to stay alert and follow safety advisories. And still to come on DD India Live. US and China agree on a 90-day pause in the tariff war, slash tariff levels substantially. News eases pressure on global financial markets. Iran does not seek nuclear weapons, says the President Pezeshkian, reiterates stand after the 4th round of talks between Washington and Tehran in Oman.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, Indian indices, that is the Sensex and the Nifty, closed on a strong note with both the benchmarks in the green, way in the green on Monday. The benchmark BSE Sensex surged 2,975 points to 82,429, while the Nifty 50 rose 916 points to settle at 24,924. The biggest Nifty gainers included Infosys, Adani Enterprises, Shriram Finance and HCL Technologies. Tariff issues had a pivotal role in the stock market's consolidation over the year, but sudden easing of US-China tariff war unlocked multiple investment avenues for investors. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Monday promised net migration would fall significantly by 2029 as he announced policies to boost skills and training. Starmer added that many immigrants would have to wait longer before getting the status they need to claim welfare. The new rules said that automatic settlement and citizenship for people who move to Britain will apply after 10 years, up from 5 now, although highly skilled workers would be fast-tracked.
Well, I'm promising it will fall significantly, and I do want to get it down by the end of this Parliament significantly. That is what this plan is intended to achieve, the complete opposite of what you saw in the last 4 years. It is frankly incredible that net migration quadrupled in 4 short years to nearly 1 million. This white paper, these plans bring it back into control.
The United States and China said on Monday that they have agreed to a deal to slash reciprocal tariffs. Speaking after talks with Chinese officials in Geneva, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that the two sides have reached a deal for a 90-day pause on measures. He added that reciprocal tariffs would come down by 115%. The combined 145% U.S. levies on most Chinese imports will be reduced to 30%, including the rate tied to fentanyl by the 14th of May. Meanwhile, the 125% Chinese duties on U.S. goods will drop to 10%. The Geneva meetings were the first face-to-face interactions between senior U.S. and Chinese economic officials since U.S. President Donald Trump returned to power and launched a global tariff blitz on China and the rest of the world as well.
We have reached an agreement on a 90-day pause and substantially moves down the tariff levels. Both sides on the reciprocal tariffs will move their tariffs down 115%. We had very robust discussions. Both sides showed great respect.
Now, the fourth round of US and Iran talks over Tehran's nuclear program ended in Oman on Sunday, with both the sides confirming plans for future negotiations. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said the latest talks were more serious and more detailed than previous rounds, indicating a potentially constructive direction for ongoing discussions. The officials said both sides signaled readiness for further talks, despite Tehran's insistence on enriching uranium and US hardline rhetoric.
We can now say that both sides have a better understanding of each other's positions. Many of the main points of disagreement have now been more thoroughly discussed. Their dimensions have been further clarified. There is now a better mutual understanding and the positions have somewhat come closer. I can state that we have decided that these negotiations will continue. Both sides are determined and we have agreed to hold the next meeting.
Meanwhile, speaking at a cabinet meeting, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian asserted that Iran has no intention of developing nuclear weapons. Pezeshkian underlined Iran's dedication to using nuclear technology for peaceful purposes, including in healthcare and agriculture.
The Islamic Republic of Iran is not seeking nuclear weapons. America said they wanted to be sure that we did not want to acquire nuclear weapons and we were ready with all our might, but for them to state and announce that we would abandon the issue of peacefulness in nuclear research and then for them to want to negotiate with us is something that is absolutely unacceptable. We need nuclear technology in healthcare, agriculture, industry, the environment and industry, and we are not going to give up this achievement so easily.
Now let's take a look at some other stories making news around the world as well. Bird enthusiasts in Colombia took part in International Birdwatching Day in the northwestern part of the country. Every year on the second Saturday of May, Colombia holds this event to see what birds have entered the country and which birds have departed. According to the World Wildlife Foundation, Colombia is recognized as the world's most bird-diverse nation, hosting 20% of global avian species. The official poster for the 78th Cannes Film Festival, taking place from the 13th to the 24th of this month in the south of France, is on display outside the Palace of Festivals and Congresses of Cannes. This year's Cannes Film Festival poster pays tribute to Claude Lelouch's 1966 French drama A Man and a Woman. A huge parade launched the start of Eurovision Song Contest Week in Switzerland's Basel. The Swiss city hosts the 69th edition of the world's biggest annual live televised music event, which was watched by 163 million viewers around the world last year. And that's all we have for the moment in this edition of DD India Live. Stay with us for all the latest right here on DD India.